Hey guys, welcome to your Unit 5, Lesson 3 notes on slope-intercept form. By the end of the day, you'll be able to write the equation of a line, a linear equation, in slope-intercept form. Let's talk about what it means to be an intercept. Just like when you intercept something in football, it means you run in front of somebody and catch it. Or if you intercept a transmission, you're listening in on the enemy and you get there before they do and you get their stuff, right? So an intercept is where two things, it's like intersect, right? It's where two things come together. So the x-intercept of a linear equation is where the equation crosses the x-axis. There you go, the x-axis. So the x-intercept is this guy right here. And its coordinates are always going to be, it's going to be at some number x, so let's just pick like a whatever. But then the y will always be 0 because it doesn't go up or down at all. So it's always at something 0. So that's the x-intercept. The y-intercept is a very similar concept, but it's y instead of x. So instead of intercepting the x-axis, the y-intercept will intercept the y-axis, which is this guy right here. So it's where the line crosses not the x-axis, but where the line crosses the y-axis. Right? So the x-intercept is here, and the y-intercept is right there. Now looking at this point, it doesn't go right or left at all, so its x is always going to be 0. And then it can be anywhere along this axis, so we'll just call it like B. There you go. So you can write the equation of any line as long as you know its slope and its y-intercept. We say that it starts here, it starts when x equals 0, and then the slope will say, well, how far up or how far down do we go? So as long as we know the slope, m, and the y-intercept, b, of a line, the slope-intercept form takes into account both the slope and the intercept, and you get the equation like this. If you want to know what y is, you start out with a y, and then you pick your starting point, b. Okay, whatever your y-intercept is, you're going to start there. And then your slope tells you for every one you go over, you need to go up this much. So if you want to go, if you take one step over, you're going to go up m over 1. And then to take your next step over to x equals 2, you go up m over 2. So you start at b, and then for every x you have, you move up, you start at b, and then for every x you have, you move up m times. So the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. That's what it is. That's your key idea of the day. Know it, love it, memorize it, put it into practice. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? Great. So we're going to start by just writing equations of lines, and then we're going to graph a line. Oh, I didn't give you an example of graphing a line. Well, I'll throw one in just for fun. I'll show you how to graph a line giving an equation. Okay? Or does that come later? That should come later. Okay, I should stick to my notes, shouldn't I? So here we go. Key idea of the day. Y equals mx plus b. Here we know m, our slope is 2, and our intercept b is 1. So we say y equals 2x plus 1. That's it. That's the equation of our line. And then now we'll do it again. We should put this in like a circle, huh? Make it super fancy. Done. Okay. Now we know our slope this time is 5/3. Our y-intercept is 0. Okay, interesting. So y equals 5/3 x plus 0, because we've got plus 0 for our b, and our 5/3 is y. But you guys, we don't need to have plus 0. We can get rid of that and just say y equals 5/3 x. And that's it. We're done. Cool. All right, let's do one more. We've got our y equals mx plus b, except, we don't have our slope. We need to find the slope first. Here's your recap. What is the formula for slope? Remember, to find the slope, you need to first find the difference in your y's and then find the difference in your x's. So it's going to be y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Nope, x1. Remembering that our x values come first and our y values come second. Ah, nice. Okay, now plug them in. So that's going to give us 5 minus 8 over 0 minus 2. Remember, 5 minus 8 because those are our y values, 0 minus 2 because those are our x values. So 5 minus 8 is negative 3, 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Those negatives are going to cancel out, giving us 3 halves. So our slope is 3 halves. Yay! Okay, so now we've got y equals 3 halves x plus b. How do we know what our b is? Remember, b is our y-intercept. It's what happens. Let's go back to our definition of y-intercept real quick. The y-intercept is always going to have the points 0 and then some number because it's where the graph crosses when that y-axis when x equals 0. So let's go back. Do we have a point? Do we know our y-intercept? Do we have a point that says 0 something? 0? We do. So that means 5 is our y-intercept. So we have y equals 3 halves x plus 5. Ta-da! Got our equation. Okay, cool. But we're going to use this in real life. Well, let's say that Cheer and Song are having a fundraiser, and they have already raised $125. Now let's say they plan on raising $30 each week. The graph shows the amount of money they plan to raise. Okay, so let's write the slope-intercept form of the line. Remember, the intercept is our starting point. It's where it crosses the y-axis right here. It's where we start with. They've raised $125 already. So we know that our intercept is 125. And we also know that they plan on raising $30 each week. Let's look at our x-axis. Our x-axis here is the number of weeks we have. And then our y-axis goes up and down. That represents the dollars raised. So we have that the number of dollars raised, the amount of money raised is equal to something times the number of weeks we have. Well, how much do we raise each week? That's our rate. That's 30. We raise $30 each week. So 30 is our slope. Y equals 30x plus 125. Nailed it. So what does the slope represent? Well, slope represents the dollars. The money raised each week. And what does the y-intercept represent? That represents our starting point. How much will they raise after 4 weeks? Well, we can look at the graph. We can say, okay, when the number of weeks equals 4, that gives us approximately, well, what is that? It's, what, 240-ish? 246, 247 something. Well, we know that our x is 4. 4 weeks is how much time has passed, so we need to plug that in to our equation. So let's take our 4 weeks and plug that in for x. So we have y equals 30 times 4 plus 125. What does that come out to? Well, that's 120 plus 125 gives us 400. Nope, just kidding. It gives us 245. So we were close. 245 bucks. Cool. And how long will it take to raise $300? So how long is a question of time. We need to figure out our time. Will it take to raise 300 bucks? When our money equals 300, how much time has passed? Well, we don't know because it goes off of our graph. Shoot. But we can do the same thing. We can plug it straight back in. So we've got our equation, y equals 30x plus 125. And this time we know how much money we want to raise, $300. So let's plug that in. So we have 300 equals 30x plus 125. Now all we have to do is solve for x. So in order to get x by itself, let's subtract 125 from both sides, giving us 100. Nope, that's 275. No, it's 175. Good job, me. Forgot the 100. Equals 30x. And then again, trying to get x by itself, we're going to undo everything that's happening. Divide by 30 on both sides. Gives us 5.8 equals x. But you can't really have like 0.8 weeks. That doesn't make sense. So after how many weeks? We'll say 6 weeks. It'll say 6 weeks to raise 300 bucks. Cool. That's pretty average time for a fundraiser. So way to go. There you have it. The most important thing to remember is this, your y-intercept form. Remember, your slope is how much it's changing as you go over 1 each time, and your intercept is where it starts. Have a fantastic time on your homework.